A resident of Perm, Alexei Gashev, who was detained in December last year, was given a final verdict: 10 years in prison for setting fire to the registration and enlistment office. He is accused of committing a terrorist attack, participating in a terrorist community, and treason.
According to investigators, on June 24, 2022, Alexei Gashev, together with Mikhail Sokolov, threw several Molotov cocktails at the military registration and enlistment office in the Kirovsky district of Perm. From the publication of the Novaya Gazeta Europe.
Gashev will spend the first 3 years in prison and the rest of his term in a strict regime colony. An air traffic controller from the Magadan region was sentenced to 2 years and 10 months in a colony settlement because of his refusal to participate in the war against Ukraine due to religious beliefs. Playwright Svetlana Petriychuk and director Yevgenia Berkovich continue to be held under arrest for staging the play Finist, the Brave Falcon, which tells how women from Russia live for Syria. The Hamovniki Court of Moscow extended their arrest on charges of justifying terrorism.
I believe that the extension of my stay in custody is unfair, wrong, it should not be happening. God forbid, for 2 months I did not understand what was so mysterious and unidentified in this incredibly complicated case. Not to mention, I'm absolutely certain that no crime happened. Yevgenia Berkovich, Russian theater director, during a court session in Hamovniki District Court of Moscow.
Fines, arrest, interrogations and torture. Moscow resident Timofey Rudenko spoke about bullying by the police. This is the 7th time he has been detained, allegedly for hooliganism. The department forces him to confess to preparing terrorist attacks. The Russian police have no evidence, no witnesses, not even a reason for that.
They came to me with a search and took me to the Novokosina police station, where they drew swastikas on my body, beat me on the head with an empty canister and tortured. They handcuffed me, tied my legs and then a towel over my face so that I would barely breathe. They poured water on my head, all over the body so that everything would be wet, and they poked me with a taser in different places, starting from the head and all over the body, also between the legs, everywhere. Timofey Rudenko, former military, in an interview with Mediazona. Due to the fact that civil society and human rights organizations in Russia now, which is crushed by repression and has absolutely no opportunity to exercise even some minimal control over the state authorities, then of course there are quite a few cases of torture. They were always in the Russian Federation. At some point it was possible to take them under control, like in places of deprivation of liberty. In the police, they even tried to reform the police and the army.
Earlier it became known that in the Irkutsk region, cases of mass rape of prisoners of the Angarsk colony number 15 reached the court. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Yulia Granovska, UATV News.